Okay, we're about to go into the Serapeum at Saqqara. I believe the layer we're looking at here was the flash burn layer of approximately 12,000 years ago, the cataclysmic time period. Presently doing excavations here. So this is going to be a non-stop video. I'm not going to bother editing it. I'll try it with, or we'll see. So again, the subterranean Serapeum at Saqqara. That's the lid to a box that we'll see when you turn left. Unfinished. With protrusions. Oops, sorry.
No, not that last one. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is the box that the lid was for. So it's roughed out, set into place, and then the lid was to come afterwards, and it was going to be finished inside the niche with no light. So they're not all the same shape and size. They're different.
What is the matter with you?
Stop following me around. Stop
Following you around.
Stop following me around.
Okay, then here we have another one, which also is very roughed out. So the lid has been put into place. The lid weighs approximately 20 to 30 tons, and then it would have to be taken off again in order to be finished.
You just shoved into me as well.
That's good. So here we see the interior of this one. Can you show the outside for a second? So here you see the hieroglyphics are carved, etched into it. The hieroglyphics are of a much poorer quality than, of course, the manufacturing of the box themselves. You can see the finish, almost glassy. So this isn't granite, this is more of a cyanite, which is a very fine grained granite. And then if you look down the hallway, I believe if we had a strong enough light, we could see that it actually turns to the right. So what's back there, we don't know. Another one, unfinished. So very much a roughing tool being used to do the initial work, and then a finishing tool used afterwards. Unfortunately, the lighting in here is not very good, but that's good. Okay, this one is in the process of being completed. Still rough on the outside, but finished on the top of the box itself. So clearly this was in the process of being completed, and then something happened here at the Serapeum. Intriguing that it's finished on the inside, still rough on the outside. There's another one. Roughed out. Oops. Another one, you can see the polished surface or the glint on the vertical surface there. But somewhat rough on the surface here. So this again was in the process of being completed. And this is the one that actually was found sealed, and the archaeologists took gunpowder and blew the end out, and there was nothing inside. This one has a very nice polished surface on the side of the box and the lid. Just to give you a sense of the scale. The floor, of course, is modern. And we'll see what the surface underneath looked like. See, it's sand and probably bedrock, but very rough. No soot of any kind on the ceiling. So how any of this work was done is still the great mystery. How could they maneuver them into place if there was no form of light? So clearly it was an artificial type of light, similar to what we have now, unknown. So more niches than there are boxes. So it's another indication that the Serapeum was never completed. And again, all the lids were found at least slightly ajar except one. And this is the average amount of opening that was found with most of them, like that. So that's large enough for a human being to come out and go back in again. Once again, more or less the same spacing of opening of the lid, straight back in this case, in the case of the other one. And here, see the glossiness of the surface. This again is one that weighs approximately 100 tons, the lid being 30 tons, the box being 70 tons. Yeah, how do you move a 30-ton lid? And if you can see the dips in the top of the lid, reasoning behind that could be the actual tuning of the box itself for the frequency. Because if we get the opportunity, we'll be able to either go inside or look inside one, and the resonant, it resonates to ohm. So another one, Very highly polished. Again, with divots or dips in the surface. This one with the lid ajar, again, and look at the major scoops in the surface. The scoops are as polished as the flat surface is, so they clearly were intentional. And also, if you look at the center of the chamber area itself, you can notice that it goes in deeper than the main part of the chamber, so that means, based on dimensions, that the lid could be rotated 90 degrees. And yet another one, highly polished with dips or grooves in the surface. This one with the lid ajar. See the gloss of the highly polished surface. This one happens to be very flat with very nice faceting of the lid. And here, actually rough on the end. Polished surfaces on the side. So this one was either never completed or part of it broke off on this end. And this is the one that we actually get access to. Well, actually, yeah. Very crude hieroglyphics, not completed. Some of the cartouches are empty. And then the gloss, the high gloss of the lid. Again, wider here in the middle so that the lid can actually be rotated 90 degrees. And once again, the roughness of the hieroglyphics clearly done after the box was created. Here's where the dip is. Major scoop out here, but it's as polished as the flat surfaces. And this shows you the sense of scale with unknown people being inside. I don't know who they are. I don't know where they come from. And then again, the roughness of the glyphs compared to the surface itself. And again, a major scoop out here. As polished as the rest of the box. So this is part one. I'm going to turn the camera off. We're going to go down the hallway and see part two. Okay, we're at the very end of the main hallway of the Serapeum. This is the last of the boxes. What we're going to do is we're going to go down a side hallway into the other main tunnel or hallway. Go ahead. What's this side and that side, Courtney? And again, you can see the undersurface here is sand. How would you transport a 100-ton box, or at least the 70-ton aspect of the box, over such a rough surface? Wooden rollers? Maybe. Who knows? So again, they're on the left side and right side. The two at the end are open.
Oh, okay, cool.
So once again, going past the main big boxes, the two at the end are open. This, of course, is the bedrock. So now the hallway connecting the two main tunnels. The walls are quite rough. So what tool was used? Looks like a chisel of some sort coming at an angle like that. On the left-hand side, that's the end of it. And then on the right-hand side, we're going to see the other unfinished one. This shows us the process of what was going on, an obvious sign that there was likely a very sudden stoppage to the work being done here in the Serapeum at Saqqara. So we have a roughed out box. We'll see the texture of the surface in a moment. So whatever tool was used, we don't see a specific pattern of how it was being done. It's relatively rough. I don't actually see the tool marks themselves, just that it's a very irregular surface. It has been hollowed out. You see how narrow the tunnel is. And somehow this had to be maneuvered around the corner as well. I think maybe 12 inches of space on either side for the box to be maneuvered. And this gives us a look once again at the relatively rough surface. No pattern of marking. So it's not an obvious chisel of any kind. It's some kind of roughing tool, whether it was done with tools as we know it or tools as yet unknown to us is one of the mysteries. And at the very end, we have the lid. The lid is about as rough as the box itself. So the roughing work done, likely outside, then maneuvered in the rough state into the niche, and then finishing. And as stated earlier, no soot marks on the ceiling, so obviously artificial light, strong artificial light had to be employed in order to maneuver these. That's one of the other great mysteries of the Serapeum at Saqqara. And the way out.